You know, we're taught that history is a settled story, something written in stone. But today, we're going to look at the things that just don't fit. The discoveries that completely break the timeline and challenge everything we think we know about the past. I mean, think about that. We spend all this time trying to piece together history, right? But what do you do when the pieces you find look like they belong to a totally different puzzle? These are the moments that make us wonder if we've been looking at the picture all wrong. And that's the thing, right? This isn't about some ancient myth or a campfire story. We are talking about real physical stuff, artifacts you can touch and buildings you can walk through that have had the experts scratching their heads for literally centuries. So first up, we're diving into what I call echoes from the past. These are the physical mysteries, constructions, and gadgets that are so advanced they just shouldn't exist in the time they were made. Get ready, because this is going to seriously test what you thought ancient people were capable of. Okay, picture this. You're high up in the Peruvian Andes, looking down on the old Inca capital of Cusco. And there, you see this massive fortress called Sacsayhuamán. It looks incredible, for sure, but when you get closer, you realize you're staring at a huge, impossible puzzle. The scale of this place is it's mind-boggling. Some of the individual stones here weigh over 200 tons. To give you an idea, that's like stacking about 100 big SUVs on top of each other. The big question is, how? And here's where your brain really starts to hurt. On the left, you see what we know the Inca had. No wheels, no steel tools, no big animals to pull heavy loads. But on the right, you see what they built. 200-ton stones, moved for miles, cut with insane precision, and fitted together so perfectly, you can't even slip a piece of paper between them. The two sides just don't add up. So how in the world did they pull it off? All right, so from a colossal fortress, let's zoom in on a single object that's just as confounding. This is an Ulfberht sword. It's a Viking Age weapon, and it's made of a metal so ridiculously advanced, it just plain shouldn't exist. This timeline really puts it into perspective. On the left, we've got the 9th century, the Viking Age, when these swords were being made. But the quality of the steel, it was so pure, with almost no imperfections, was something nobody saw again until the Industrial Revolution, way over on the right. That's a full 900 years later. 9 centuries. How is that possible? So you have to wonder, right? Was Ulfberht one genius blacksmith? Or maybe a secret club of smiths who were guarding some kind of lost ancient knowledge? Whatever it was, their work was so famous that for every real Ulfberht sword we find a bunch of fakes from the same time period. Weaker swords with the name just stamped on. It was like the designer brand of its day, and everyone wanted a knockoff. For our next mystery, we're heading underground. On the tiny island of Malta, there's a place called the Hypogeum. It's a massive, multi-level labyrinth that was carved straight out of solid rock over 5,000 years ago. And once you get inside, things get even weirder. There's this one room, they call it the Oracle Room. If a man with a deep voice speaks in there, the whole place starts to hum at a very specific frequency, 110 hertz. And studies show that this frequency can actually alter human brain activity, maybe even inducing a trance-like state. Oh, and they also found the bones of over 7,000 people down there, along with a bunch of very strange, elongated skulls. And here's where the story takes a turn. The most unusual skulls, the ones that didn't look like they were just shaped by head binding, they vanished. They disappeared from the National Museum of Archaeology in Malta, leaving us with just old photos and a whole lot of questions. So far, we've been looking at mysteries of stone and steel, things we can see and touch. But now we're going to turn inward. Because what if the biggest mysteries, the most profound questions, aren't buried in the ground, but are actually buried deep inside our own minds? I bet almost everybody listening has felt this, that really weird, fleeting sensation that this exact moment has happened before. Every detail is the same. It's called déjà vu. So what is it? Is it a ghost of a memory from a past life? Or is it something more mundane? Neuroscientists have a pretty interesting theory. Think of your brain like a filing system. Déjà vu might just be a tiny glitch where a new experience gets accidentally filed under old memory for a split second, creating that bizarre feeling of familiarity. But honestly, nobody knows for sure. All right, let's talk about intuition. You know, that gut feeling, that moment you just know something, but you have no logical reason for how you know it. Well, the leading theory is that it isn't magic, it's just your brain being a silent supercomputer. It's constantly sucking in tiny bits of data you don't even realize you're seeing. Subtle body language, a shift in someone's tone of voice. It crunches all that data in the background, and when it finds a pattern, bam, it sends an alert to your conscious mind. And that alert isn't a spreadsheet, it's just a powerful, simple gut feeling. And now we have to talk about what might be the most profound mystery of them all, the near-death experience. What actually happens in those moments when life is hanging by a thread? What do people see when they go right to the edge and then come back? The truly amazing thing is how similar the stories are. It doesn't matter what your religion is or where you're from in the world, people consistently report traveling down a tunnel toward a brilliant light, meeting loved ones who have passed on, and feeling this incredible sense of peace. And this is where we have a major split in thinking. On one hand, you have the spiritual view. This is it. This is proof of an afterlife. It's the soul starting its journey. But on the other hand, science suggests it could be a natural, powerful hallucination caused by the brain releasing a flood of chemicals as it shuts down from extreme stress. Two completely different answers for the same incredible experience, and right now, neither one can be proven. So, after all that, from the mountains of Peru to the deepest corners of the human mind, where does that leave us? Well, we've seen that for every chapter of history we think we have figured out, there's always an asterisk, something that whispers, it might not be that simple.
We're left with all of these amazing open questions. And, these aren't failures of science or history, they're invitations. They're reminders that the world and even our own heads are still packed with wonder and mystery.
And maybe that's the real point. Maybe the goal isn't to solve every single puzzle. Maybe it's to let these mysteries push us, to make us challenge what we think we know, and to never, ever stop being curious. So I'll just leave you with this one last thought. If these are just the few anomalies that we've happened to stumble upon, what else is out there? Could the biggest, most incredible parts of our own story still be buried, just waiting for us to find them?
Health is the most precious gift. If this video helped you or someone you love, please like, subscribe, and share so more families can stay safe and healthy.